Da, 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 da. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master 33. And today, okay, let me slow it down a little bit. What is going on, everybody? This is your boy, Dr. Okay, enough of that. What's going on, everybody? Today is the start of a new strength, not a weakness, a new strength. Today is Moon Day, March the 14th, 2022. Time a little after 1:10 Central. Got to jump right in, brothers and sisters. What do you do? And everything you're doing everything right, but the shiftness is still not working. What do you do? Well, you keep marching forward. Forward march. So when I was in the military, the word forward, march, that was a command. It wasn't a request. It wasn't a, pondering session. It wasn't a sit back and wonder and wish and hope and pray and, slap oil on your forehead and shake and shimmer and all the other things that we like to do. It's really interesting because in life, every day has its own set of challenges. And every day that we wake up, we are on the planet to continue to establish our resonant frequency. The reason why we exist, if you want to use that term, on this planned net is because of a vibrational frequency that source code wishes to express on this dimension at this time. That's the only reason you're here. And so you must work while it's day. But we all come up against, different obstacles, for lack of a better term. And when we experience these obstacles, that's the time that we have to be able to march forward or move forward. But if it was that easy, because you're already moving forward, right? You're doing everything that you know how to do, but you're still not moving forward. And maybe at the rate or at the speed that you would like to move forward. Now, remember, I'm talking about you have really, really, really put forth energy and effort, whether it's your job, whether it's relationships, whether it's, working on your degree. So I'm not talking about, the people that, we have a culture of ineptitude. It just simply means that now, as a retired ineptituder myself, I can relate. It's like, how do you know what you don't know? Okay, well, you don't. So we could talk about that, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about the people that they just really don't know. There are some people, they just don't know. They're just ignorant. So we're not talking about ignorance today. There's a lot of people that really honestly just don't know, and there is no way for you to know what you don't know, so you have to learn it. So we're not talking about learned behavior today. We're talking about that you've done you've done and you are doing everything that you know how to do. Or you're getting ready to start something, but you want to make sure before you start that this is the correct place. This is the best way for you to start. Or we've got the other group of people that you have already started and things are going to do it, but you need to make some adjustments. So you're going and you kind of hit a plateau and you just want to make some adjustments. Then the last group of people that we're talking about today is you want to jump start. It's not necessarily an adjustment. You're going good. Things are working, but you just want it to work on a higher level. Let's just put it that way. It's working, but, you're bringing in, let's say, $10 an hour. You want to bring in 12. So what do you do? What do you do when everything that you're doing is working, but you just need a little bit more of a well, you gotta always move forward. Now, moving forward is interesting because the word forward and the word movement is what we're talking about because we're in the month of March, and March simply means, again, to move forward. Now, when we're talking about moving, we're talking about, like we talked about yesterday, moving is a mental disposition. And it's really interesting because the hardest thing to do is, maintain that mental disposition. Now, mental disposition simply means a vibration. The vibration simply means illumination. So there's illumination, inspiration, and activation. So they want to break down these three frequencies, waves, and vibrations, so that way you understand that Every issue, if you want to use the word issue, because there is no issues, it's just alignment. But unfortunately, we look at it as like they against us. It's always Doc, somebody else is, or somebody did, or somebody didn't. It's never us. And so because it's never us, remember, you cannot solve something that you did not create. That's why ownership is the number one responsibility. But remember what ownership is really for us high vibration like Tibetans, which we probably start day 8, because remember we went through day 7, stopped. So we're going to do the next 7 days, take a break, then do the next 7 days, since we are like 2 months ahead. So like, man, the People Development Center, we're already on module 4. And I'm organizing and printing a book for module 2. I'll be sending that out here sometimes in the next week or so. So what am I doing? Well, what I'm doing is what I want to tell you to do. Notice what I said I was doing? What am I doing? I'm taking action. Okay, what kind of action am I taking? Well, I'm taking action on the things that's going to move me forward. Okay, that is called number 1 of the 3 keys to you stuck. What do you do? Activation, inspiration, illumination. Somebody should write that down. Now, because all of these shows are high vibrational shows, a lot of times they do escape our ability to wrap our brain around it, because I do so many shows, and which is one of the reasons why I took a little break that I did, and so I'm going to have to actually start doing less, because a lot of people have a hard time keeping up, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? I mean, like, you can't, you don't go to no university and freaking do no 3 classes a day, every day, 7 days a week. No, you work, like you go to school, you take classes on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's not too many people on the internet that I know of that do what I do. Very few people pump out as much content as I do. So I'm aware of that. And you need to be aware of that as well. And so what we're talking about when we look at these 3 ways, remember, when we're talking about moving forward in the midst of adversity, because that's what this is, march forward. So, and remember the 3 frequencies that we're breaking down today. It's what I do every day. And those 3 frequencies are extremely important for you to be, what we call successful, because everybody's definition of success is different. So we're talking about activation, and inspiration, and illumination. And when you understand that anytime I hit a brick wall, this is what I do. Because I know that if I'm hitting a brick wall, remember, go back to what we said at the beginning of the show. You got to examine yourself first. Are you doing everything within your capacity and your power? Usually that's the problem. In fact, 99.9% of the problem, people don't even need this message. But for the people that do need this message, that you serious, man. You like in it to win it. You like something's not right, brother. I'm doing everything that I know. That I went through all the programs, man. I'm still stuck. And remember, stuck is not a bad place. Stuck just simply means that, like we was talking about, the whole point of the round table meeting and everything that we're doing. Stuck is just illumination. It's just the final piece of the puzzle. Activation, inspiration, illumination. So there can be no final piece of the puzzle, illumination, if there is no inspiration. There can be no inspiration if there is no activation. And so when I look at these 3 frequencies, and each word is a different frequency. Now, it already exists. So your highest aspiration already exists. So when I say moving forward, I say march forward. You're not moving physically. You are expanding consciously. Let me say it again. Moving forward has nothing to do with physical. Moving forward has to do with the spiritual. It is a spiritual expansion. Now, it will result in a physical expression. That's automatic. That's like presence, power, and purpose. It automatically expresses itself. But what do you do when shit ain't working? Well, what do? You're doing everything right. Well, you got to go back to activation. So number 1, when your back is up against the wall, shit hits the fan, by that meaning that everything seems to be like, Doc, I'm stuck. I'm standing still. No, my wheels are not, shitness is moving, but it's not moving. So what do? Well, you got to go back to number 1. What is number 1? Activation. So what is activation? Well, you guys know what we talked about yesterday when we were breaking down the fact that everybody on this call and everybody, we have to be able to understand that we allow our mind to block our shine. And we talked about the difference between knowledge and action. There's a knowledge-action gap. There's a gap between you taking action. And the reason you're not taking action is because of the monkey mind. Now, remember, what is the monkey mind? Well, the monkey mind comes in anytime you cannot see the next step. So if you cannot visualize the next step, now the next step could be starting a YouTube channel. So if you've never started a YouTube channel, your brain will automatically tell you, cannot be done. Let's say, like I was telling you guys before, when I had my inspirational grounds, there was a guy coming to me who had paid a guy $1,000 to set up his EIN number. He paid a guy $1,000 to set up his EIN number. When I set the guy down, I logged into my computer and I went to irs.gov. When I went to irs.gov, at the top of the page there's a search. I clicked on that search and I typed in ITIN. That is the individual tax identification number. When I typed in, the first thing that popped up was application for individual tax identification number, form W7. And then I scrolled up and there was a PDF document that says instructions for completing the W7. And when I clicked on that, there was a PDF document that took him to the page that allowed him to do that thing for free. Now, I'm sitting here talking to everybody on this call right now, and everything that you think is an obstacle has already been solved and done by thousands of people before you. But it is an obstacle only for you because you choose to make it an obstacle. Now, remember, everything I do myself first. If I choose to outsource it, it's after I master it. So I can know when I'm getting conned. So I know when somebody comes, hey, Doc, I have a system, a CRM, or I have a payment gateway system, or I have a automatic email responder. I have this, I have an all-in-one program. Really? Okay, let me check it out, brother. And they send it to me and they tell me how much it costs. And I know I've already researched all of the all-in-one platforms that are available online. So if you're not at that, most people are really not at the point where you can listen to today's message because you are not stuck. Maybe lazy, maybe not even lazy. Maybe we're not aware. Like if I had to do computer coding today, if somebody gave me, hey, Doc, I need you to write a computer code for me, my brother. I don't know nothing about computer coding. But I know that they have coding classes. Free. So I know what I would do. I would go Google, I would type in free coding classes. A free coding book. I just typed in the word free and it just popped up. This happens all the time for me. So it says free coding classes online. And I clicked on it. And when you look at the results, there is a plethora, thousands, if not millions, of free. And then there's a bunch of videos. There's free coding classes. So if I'm really, really, really serious, I'm not, but if I was really serious about learning HTML or CSS or JavaScript or any of the computer to write a computer program so that way I can program my, let's say, my Dear Canoe report. Because one of the things I will be doing is, again, making the entire process something that you can just put on your phone, click the app, type in your name and date of birth, and bam, you got 750 pages on your cell phone or on your computer. Now, I could do that myself, and I very well may. But right now, I'm not at the point where I'm stuck, where I need to do that today. But there is probably going to come a day when either I'm going to have to learn coding myself, or I'm going to have to hire someone, but I need to know enough about the basics of coding to say, hey, Doc, like the company that quoted me $500,000 to write a computer code program after going through all of my systems and explaining how the stuff works with the Dear Canoe reports and how I basically construct them today. So what am I saying? Am I really stuck? No, I'm not stuck. Are you stuck? No, you're not stuck. But there are a few people who really are stuck. When I say stuck, I mean that there is no free computer classes, but for me there is. So in my case, there's no reason that I can't be stuck. So if I'm stuck, then I got to go back to activation. So activation means that you don't have a next step. You don't got no process by which to improve. If we go back to TQM, y'all remember the Deming method that we talked about? He went after World War, after we dropped the bomb on Tokyo, and so Charles, I think his name was Charles Deming or whatever his first name was. So he taught them what is called the Deming method, and they went on to become an industrial giant using what is called TQM, total quality method, total quality management. I remember I was in corporate America. I went through some of Charles. It wasn't Charles. What was his name? I think his name was Edward. Man, let me look it up. Let's see. What was my boy's name? TQM. There we go. What are the 14 principles of TQM? Deming, D.W. William Edwards Deming, American engineer, professor, author, lecturer, and management consultant. So my boy went and rebuilt the Japanese economy using his 14 TQM points. And one of those is what I'm saying. I went through TQM and all this stuff. I don't know if you guys heard of Six Sigma when it comes to business architecture. So I was certified in Six Sigma way back in my business days. What is the point, Doc? The point is most people do not adapt appropriate principles for management. Let me say it again slowly. Tonight we'll start day 8. Because we gotta, we gotta get y'all out of the baby stage. Not you personally, but people you know. So what are you saying? I'm just simply saying that activation brings about illumination. Next steps. Inspiration, and then inspiration brings about illumination. Everything opens up. Money starts coming to you. Why? Because now you are with the vibration that heals and manifests. So right now, you're suffering from a lack of what I call vibrational revelation. Now we all do. We're at different points of this. Me too. So I'm suffering from the vibrational point of revelation when it comes to the currency of $1 million. So I may have the mentality. I may also have the attributes and the characteristics, simply meaning that if you look up or if you were to put together all of my assets, physical assets, so you could be a millionaire on paper, but do you have the liquidity? So I need the vibrational revelation of the liquidity of being a liquid millionaire. So vibrational frequency, that simply means that you're now vibrationally worthy of the unconditional love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, self-control, for my case, of my goal. So that's activation. How does that start? That starts when you stay in harmony with the present step. You no longer worry over the past or the future. Let me again say this very slowly, because people get frustrated, concerned, angry, upset when things don't go their way. And the word activation, number one, activation leads to inspiration. Inspiration leads to illumination. There is no activation. You're not activated. You're not amped. Why? You're not in alignment with the current action step. You're not moving forward. So how come I'm not in alignment? How come there is no alignment? I'm talking mental now. You have to be the vibrational equivalent. There's no alignment. with the next action step. How come? You don't know what it is. How come? You're not a computer programmer. You're not a babysitter. You're not a cook. Someone is asking you to do something you've never done. There is no alignment with the next action step. Doc, I'm walking down a flight of stairs in the dark. That's how you bust your ass. Failure is the result of you walking in the dark. There are people listening to me. You don't know what the next step is. You're walking in the dark. So yes, you will fall and bust your ass. It's inevitable. It is going to happen. It's not an if. It's not a maybe. All the shit you're doing, none of the shit's going to work. Do you know how many people in relationships right now, they're walking in the dark? Why? They don't know what to do in their relationship. Now, they're in one. Now, they should have thought about all this shit before they decided, like I did, before you got married, and say, I do. But see, nobody told me what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. And so when you stay in harmony with your present step, what happens? You can't live in the past or the future. You can't have what you haven't. You can't feel what you're feeling. You can't. Because your brain is immersed in the solution. So you can't have a problem. Problem exists when there's no steps to take. Because if there's a step to take, you don't got a problem because you taking the step. But when you really don't know, that's what people like if you're in a relationship and the relationship is not working, the reason that it's not working is because you don't know the steps to take to solve the relationship. Now, the step to take may be to leave the relationship. Then that brings up the next problem. You got the knowledge, but you can't take the step. Because you know how to, you never left the relationship before. Well, shit, I've done it a plethora of times. You're in the right place. I got you, boo-boo. Then you put your shit in your car, you just turn it on, and you leave. You may be crying, you may be angry, you may be upset. They may be crying, they may be angry, they may be upset, but hey, it'll be okay. Just keep driving. Trust and believe. I've already done it. You may have more money than bills. Then what is the action step? Well, one of the action steps is, if you don't got a job, get a job. Another action step is, if you got a job, hey, OT, work some overtime. If you don't got a job and you can't work OT, then what do? Well, what is the next action step? Donate blood plasma. Pick up cans. Do what I do. Start a YouTube channel. How about you take a survey, an unofficial survey? What does that mean? Well, whatever problem you got, other people probably have the same problem. So do what I do. Post a video of you doing something that solves that problem. And today I did a video of me at the gym. So I'm going to post it later on today. Because according to TikTok, it's better to post videos in the evening time, like around about 5, at least for my channel, because they give you the stats. So a lot of times I make videos, but I don't post them until later. Why? So that way more people are viewing it, and I get a better response. Then people do what? They watch the video, and then it says click on the link. Or email me for us, so they email me. And a lot of them, they just tire thumpers. They just kicking a tire. They ain't interested in buying anything. But a lot of people are interested. So what do? I give them the next step for free. But I know it's 10 steps. So what happens? They're going to do that step, and then they're going to come right back. Why? I ain't give them the whole cow. I just gave them 1 cup of milk. A cow can pump out, I don't know, a whole lot of milk, not just one. So you are in a state where you got 1 step of a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 step system. So you have to align your mind with the next step. Because when you align your mind with that action step, what that does to the brain, I cannot put it into the English language. What it does is, like, when you align your mind with the action step, when you can visualize it and see exactly what you should do, then you're in a state of harmony. That state of harmony, you can only stay in a state of harmony as if you aligned your mind with the next step. Otherwise, you're in trouble. And then when you do that step, guess what happens? You go right back to monkey mind. Why? You don't know the next step. So your job is to stay in harmony with the present. And what is the present? The present is the next step. So, depending on how many steps there are to get to the finish line, that's how much disharmony you got. Remember, problems is distance between where you start and where you finish. So a problem is if you weigh 300 pounds and you want to weigh 200 pounds and you got 7 days. That's a problem. Why? But when you got 7 days to lose 100 pounds. Now, I can drop some weight quick shit. I don't think I can do 100 pounds in 7 days. I can give it a shot. I think I can get close, but I don't know if I can max out though. Because if you're able to do step 1, we're talking about how to get unstuck. We're talking today about, I told you, you've done everything right, you've done everything that you know to do, and the shit's not working. Well, you gotta reactivate yourself. How do I reactivate myself, Doc? Okay, what is the next step that you need to do? Okay, shit, I don't know the next step to do. Okay, that's called disharmony. So the next step is you got to sit down and you ask yourself the question, because the brain will see you the answer. And the question you have to have is, what are you trying to accomplish? What is your most pressing problem? Because when you narrow it down, what do you do? Simplify. Number 1, align with the action step. Number 2, when you align with the next step, you stay in a state of harmony. Number 3, the next step is the simplest step. So the next step is always the simplest. That means that you need to narrow your niche. Right now, you're trying to take a step that is too broad. It's like, if you like, my goal is $1,000 a day only because I've been doing this for 10 years and I've been making money. I could not start off saying $1,000 a day. The brain going to be like, that shit's unrealistic, reject. So it's just got to be believable. So what I do, narrow your niche. Right now, you're doing too much. You got to simplify, man. You got to narrow it down, brother. You got to narrow it down, sister. You got to simplify what you're trying to do. Why? Because you really don't know what you want $1,000 a day, but you don't really know what $1,000 a day looks like. I'm talking to me, to myself. So because you're not able to simplify the niche, that keeps you out of. That means that you're not in a state of harmony. So that means that you will stay in the ditch. So if you cannot simplify your niche, you're gonna stay in the ditch. And so most people, they can't. Remember, you stuck. You're doing everything right, and it's just not working. I listen. I've been going to your shows, man. I've been a member for 1,000 years, and I'm still in Groundhog Day. That means something's wrong with the program's whack, brother. No, but we're in the program. You're not in a state of activation. Therefore, you're not in a state of inspiration. Therefore, you're not in a state of illumination. See, when you're in a state of illumination, you can see the world. That means you can see the field. Now, you may not take action on the field, but you see the field. So, like me, I see the field. And when I see the field, the thing that really illuminates is I am comfortable and I like where I'm at. So I'm going to stay where I'm at as long as I can before I have to do what? Take on more debt and then also take on more people. Because then you have to be able to manage, which is what we're going to be breaking out tonight, those people. Because your manifestation is a function of the manager. So now we've got to break down, okay, how do you function as a manager? How do each one of us function as a manager? Well, how do you manage yourself? Well, number one, you got to activate yourself. So now, the same way I activate myself is the same way I got to activate my people that I work with. Excuse me, my people that work with me. How do I activate people? Simplify. What does that mean? Don't overcomplicate. What does that mean? That means tell people specific. Walk 15 steps, pick up the trash can, or 15 steps. Take the trash bag out of the trash can, tie it, put it on the floor. Put a new trash bag in that you have in your pocket before you left to pick up the trash can. Put that in. In other words, it has to be a step-by-step system so that people can implement it. Or you do what they did us in the military. In the military, they gave us what they call an FM guide. It was a field manual. So in the military, you want to take a squat, they give you a book. I'm for real. Like ask anybody in the military, especially when you're out in the field, because you know there is no latrine. So in the military, they have a guide. They got a book, a standard operating procedure for freaking. If you want to scratch your buttocks, there's a book that tells you how to scratch your buttocks. So there's a step-by-step system. It's a standard operating procedure. So if you don't have that, you are in Groundhog's Day. So you cannot activate. So failure to launch. People can't launch. They stuck. Why they stuck? They cannot. I say, move forward. This is the much more. They said, Doc, I would love to move forward. My brother, praise Jesus, but I cannot. I know. That's why I'm doing today's class. Now you want to move forward, but you are unable to move forward. Now remember, I'm not just talking about, because some people are there. Some people are like me. You're comfortable where you're at, and you're not really interested in moving forward. But there is going to come a day when you've got to move forward. So thankfully, I don't have to move forward today. But eventually, I'm going to have to move forward. In other words, I cannot stay where I'm at. Because again, bills keep increasing. Look at the gas prices. Shit's going up. So, I mean, you got to go up. Excuse me. Otherwise, because remember, you must be in a position where you outproduce Joe Biden and his entourage, or the dominant culture, or the Republicans, or the Democrats, or Lucifer, or Satan, whoever. Put the blame on somebody. But you got to do one thing. Don't worry about the gas prices. Just make more money than the gas costs. So if gas goes up, shit, you go up. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how do we outproduce their system. Because they're trying to get you in Podunk, Texas. So you got to outproduce them. So what do? You got to activate. You got to be able to inspirate. You got to be able to illuminate. So if you don't understand how to activate yourself, you will not be able to inspire yourself. You can inspire yourself when you not be able to illuminate yourself where you can see the field. If you can't be able to see the field, you can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not real. And then that's called Groundhog's Day. So Groundhog's Day is right now you're sitting there and you're like, Doc, I want to start a YouTube channel with my brother, but I do not know how. So you're stuck. Now, you don't know that you can go to Google right now and type in how to start a YouTube channel. For some reason, none of that escapes the brain. So it's okay. So that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing today's show. So you can go to YouTube and type that in. Or you can go to Google. You can go to Dogpile. You can go to DuckDuckGo. You can go to any search engine that you like. Whatever floats your boat and turns you on, you can do it. But we got a problem. The problem is your brain, because remember, we're talking about there's a gap. You got the knowledge, but there's a gap between the action. What is that? That is called inertia. What is inertia? Fear. What is fear? Fear is false evidence appearing real. You said, that shit's hard, my brother. I'm afraid. What you afraid of? I ain't never tried a YouTube channel before, ever in life, my brother. I know, boo-boo. That's why we tell you, go to Google, type in how to start a YouTube channel. It's going to be challenging, but you got to think about what am I thinking about? Well, inspiration. But what inspires you? Well, one of the things that inspires me is paying my bills on time. One of the things that inspires me is, being able to, take a lot of vacations that are not vacations. I just like to travel. One of the things that inspires me is being able to get in my car, start up and drive 4 hours, 5 hours to Dallas and hang out with my daughters. Go to Austin, hang out with my son. Nothing that inspires me is I like to do these classes. I like to sit at home in my drawers and look outside my living room. Another thing that inspires me is I'm getting a brand new house built. I want to put some nice furniture in there. Another thing that inspires me is that, I'm thinking about putting a pool in the backyard. Another thing that inspires me is that, hey, I like my Corvette. I think I want to keep it. I may want to add some stuff to it. So nothing inspires me is being able to, take the wife out every once in a while and buy some nice jewelry or something. I got a lot. Should I continue? How much time y'all got? I can talk for a couple of hours about the shit that inspires me. So I don't have a lack of inspiration. Now, some folks do. Some people believe it's kind of like remember the cult, the Gateway to Heaven cult? It was on 2020 a couple of nights ago. And the number one thing that blew me away, They could not find nothing on to inspire them. So they were like, we ready to leave. This is a true story. Y'all got to watch it, man. It was on Dateline. I think Dateline. It was called The Gateway to Heaven Code. And I remember the guy, Heaven's Gate was Gateway. Heaven's Gate. Yeah, Heaven's Gate. True story. I think it's called, Heaven's Gate. It was a religious code. And you know what? The reason I watch it, because shit reminds me of that. That's pretty much how I grew up. Just like Heaven's Gate. Except it was a lady. And she was just telling us that, hey, you got 7 years to purify yourself, and then we out. We had all this food underground in this bunker. And I remember I was a little kid. I'm like, why are we stacking up food? We had candles. It's kind of like now. The end of the world is coming. The end of the world is coming. They've been saying that shit for generations. Every generation they got the end of the world cult. You might be a member of one. Why? Well, ain't shit here, Doc. The world is evil. My brother, praise Jesus. People killing each other. Look at the gas prices. Shit, I'm ready to go. Really? Well, shit, I see you when I see you, bro. I ain't ready to go. There's a lot of people that are depressed, man. Now, remember, I always been there, done that. I got 2 T-shirts. I'm not talking about the shit I read in the book. I tried to kill myself 3 times already. So I need y'all to understand something. You ain't got no problems, man. Now you think you do. I know. Everybody comes to me, man. They tell me, Doc, you do not understand. And I listen. And after they talk, I'm like, is that it? I'm waiting for, bad, my dad fondled me when I was a kid. My mom pimped me out to my Uncle John, or, I got sold into sex slavery. I'm waiting to hear some bad, anal penetrating shit. And I ain't hearing it. But people walk around angry and depressed and upset. Come on, man. This is not no third world country. Nobody's sleeping on no damn dirt floors. Now, I know you got some problems. I'm not trying to belittle your problems, but come on. Let's be for real. Sometimes you need to get out of your box and look around. There's people in this country and there's people in the world have some real problems. Not being able to start a YouTube channel is not one. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because you need to narrow your gate. You need to narrow your focus. You need to narrow your niche. Because the way that you are always able to move forward is, what do you do when none of the shit that you're doing is working? You need to dumb that shit down. What does that mean in English? Without the profanity, that means that you are overstriding. What does that mean? That means that you trying to do something that ain't got nothing to do with you. Everybody on this call is not supposed to have their own online business. Some of you guys are going to be working with somebody else who has an online business because of your numbers. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You get in line where you fit. Everybody's not a leader. I'm not a leader. I'm not trying to be no leader. So I'm not trying to start no little cult or no little, no little organization. Now, I do understand, overstand, and understand systems. And I am a perfectionist. That's part of the 6. And I am a detailed ologist, if that's a word. So I can set up the system for you. I can help you align with your next action step because that's the only problem that you got. Right now, you're not in alignment with the next action step. You're in alignment with a step that's like 9 steps down. But you got to bloom where you're planted. You got to start where you at. You can't overstride. In other words, you can't go from step 1 to step 3, bruh. I know everybody taught you that at Ebenezer Baptist. That's not how the shit works in real life. In real life, it's a step-by-step process. So you can't go from freshman to senior. You got to start freshman, sophomore, junior, then you get to the senior year. So you must align with the next action step. Because when you align with the next action step, your brain is so immersed with that step, you're not living in the past and you're not living in the future. Your brain is immersed. Like it says in the Gospel of Thomas, that is activation. Activation is when you stay in harmony with the present because you are no longer worrying about the past or the future. Harmony, love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, self-control is when you are immersed in the mama bee present. You telling me, well, Doc, she left last week. Okay, she gone, bruh. Dr. John said they're going to fire me next week. Okay, what's the date? Well, the day is March the 14th. Well, Doc, My last day is March the 21st. Okay, today's the 14th though. Why are you worrying about what's going to happen on the 21st? What should we be doing today? Maybe we should be putting out some resumes, looking for another job if your last day is the 21st. You're just going to sit there and look, oh, damn, today's the 14th. Well, I got 7 more days before. No, you got 7 more days to get your new job, not 7 days before you lose your old one. So your vibration is off. Not you personally, but you know. Why? Why is my vibration off, Doc? What makes me stuck? Stuck means you are not looking at the next step. Stuck means you're living in the past or you're living in the future or the shit that might happen. Because to make that next step, you can do that. There is not a vibration on this call that can look me in the eye and say, Doc, I cannot do blank. Now, you telling yourself you can't do it. Therefore, it's done unto you as you believe. But since I've already done it, ain't nobody as dense as me. So if I can do it, shit, y'all are gurus. So activation is number one. Activation simply means that whenever you're aligned with the next step, you look at your life. If you are having a relationship problem, the next step is what? Your next step is, if you're a man, your wife is upset or your girlfriend is upset because you don't make her feel like she's number one. And you do not make her feel like she's the only one. For some reason or other, she is not feeling you. So you got a problem. Stop everything you're doing and you make sure she knows she is number one. If not, if you don't think you can do that, you might want to go ahead and pack your shit. If she's not already packed it for you. Because you got to move out. Or she got to move out. Somebody's moving out. That's how again, that's the next step. Now, I know you might be listening to TD Jakes, somebody else. They're going to tell you something else, but I'm telling you what works. I got $100,000 if you do that if it doesn't work. Now, what if you do that and she's already moved on? But you got a choice to make. You can do the same thing I did. You can keep doing it until you get her back. But you got to ask yourself, do you sure you want her back? Because remember the problem that you had? That it's still there. So what you got to do? You got to make sure that you can live with that problem. Because it's not a problem. That's just the way she is. So if you're a neat freak and she ain't, and you know she wasn't neat when you got her. Now all of a sudden you got to, you want to you can't train folks. People are grown. So yes, you may brush your teeth and leave the top off the toothpaste. If that's a no-go for you, pack your shit. Now I'm just gonna tell you, probably everybody else you meet, they ain't gonna put the cap back on the toothpaste either. So before you leave that grass, you might want to. I'm just saying, everything that glitters ain't gold. Grass may not be greener on the other side. I'm gonna say you might want to count your blessings. That's another study for another time. Because you're asking me, Doc, what is the next step? I'm trying to tell you what the next step is. The next step is look where you're at. Bloom where you planted. You must align with the next step. And if the next step, now this is a good one. If the next step is a step you don't like, my grandma used to tell me, boy, you make your bed, you lie in it. I blow it up. I'm cut from a different cloth. I don't recommend you do it. But if the next step is not a step that I don't like, I'm exiting stage left. I'm going to create a whole new step. That's how much power everybody on this call got. You got the power to call those things that are not as though they were. Remember what we was talking about when we was talking about energy and we was talking about manna. And we was breaking down the fact that manna has nothing to do with something dropping down from heaven. Manna means that you go up to heaven. Manna means that you are increasing your faith to produce another step that don't exist. Now, that's a whole new level because there are no devils on that level. But that's how much power you got if you choose to do what? Do number 2. That's your highest aspiration. See, inspiration, most people are not inspired. I'm telling you, man, this is not make-believe. I talk to people every day. Y'all know what I do for a living now. I talk to people every day. And 1 in 1,000 people are inspired. Everybody's bored as hell. They try to convince me, and I can tell it in their voice. You ever talk to somebody it's very few people that I talk to that's been married for a long time, and they got a spark. Shit, the marriage is over. They just choose to hang out together. There's no inspiration. There's no inspiritas. There's no spirit. There is no animating principle of the body because there's no step. See, there should be a step that you can take that makes you excited. Are you excited today? A lot of people are not. A lot of people woke up this morning, they're like, oh, damn, it's Monday. Shit. I hate this damn job. Quit. Don't tell nobody I'll tell you to quit, though. Because guess what happens when you quit? Well, that forces the brain, that activates the monkey mind, because now the brain doesn't handle the next step. At least when you got the job, you know what the next step is. When you quit your job, you don't know what the next step is. Your brain gonna go cuckoo. Guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna draw cuckoo. So your life gonna go zoom. Unless you're a high vibration like Cupidon, and then you can replace that lower step with your highest aspirations. So when I talk to people about this, about the ability to move forward in the face of extreme adversity, and I give them the 3 steps of activation, inspiration, and illumination, we always go back to, I can't see illumination. Of course you can't see because there's no inspiration. Well, how come there's no inspiration? Well, I'm not motivated, Doc. How come you're not motivated? Well, praise Jesus, my brother. I'm just, we've been married for 25 years. Well, we've been married for 2 years. Some people I talk to, they've been married for 1 year. And it's boring, Doc. There's no excitement. It's just, we're just here. The kids are grown and gone, so now, we're empty nesters, and, the love is gone, my brother. Yeah, I feel you. I don't know where'd it go. Well, it left because there is no action step. Everything starts with alignment with the next step. So all I do every day when I wake up, my monkey mind is because you gotta remember what I do. When you got about 25, 30 different businesses going simultaneously all at the same time, it's like a 3-ring circus. Thankfully, I'm the circus master. So whenever I get into monkey mind, and monkey mind is just, you have the knowledge, but you're not taking the action because there's a bunch of steps. And then the step that you get ready to take is not the next step. It is a step of a 50-step process. You cannot start with step 10 because you got 50 steps to go to. No, you got to start with step 1. So alignment with your assignment. When you stay in a state of harmony, that means that you are in a state of focusing on your next step. When you narrow your niche, that's how you get out of the ditch. Simplifying the niche gets you out of the ditch. The fact that we have these grandiose ideals, you're staring at the mountain top. You're not staring at the next step. That creates paralyzation because you're looking. You're staring. You're glazing at the finish line. But we're at the starting line, boo-boo. So because you're looking at, damn, it's a 26-mile marathon, Doc. It's 26 miles, brother. That's a long, man. I'm going back home, man. I ain't doing this. Why? 26 miles. That's not, okay. Can you do just one lap around? Yeah, I can do one lap. Okay, let's do that. Let's start with the first step. 1 mile. Can you run one? Can you just jog? Can you just jog 1 mile? Can you just do the Marine Corps shuffle for 1 mile? Just shuffle 1 foot in front of the other. After you finish that one, okay, we stop. What is that? Can you do another one? What is the next step? But you see, we got this grandiose ideal. Again, I like grandiose, but all of the gurus say focus on the destination. That's why very few people can manifest. Because very few gurus tell you, no, don't focus on the destination. Then make the destination. And then what I say, I've been saying this for 20 years. Go back to all of my shows. Go back to my blog talk shows. When I say create the destination, detach from the goal and attach from the road. That was one of the first shows I did almost 20 years ago. And I told you, detach from the goal and attach to the road. Y'all got to roll. But I'm talking to people that's been a part of my system, and they're like, they don't know what we stuck. You can't get stuck because the shit is step by step, unless you're in another system. Because if you follow the system, that's why it's called the life management system. This is how you manage your life. So you manage your life. I didn't get no Camaro by looking at no Corvette by looking at the Corvette. I got the Corvette by getting my ass up every day and doing shows and doing Dick and Hit reports and doing one-on-ones. See, very, everybody want to stand on the stage and get the award. Very few people most people don't want to do the work. Everybody wants somebody else to do the work for them. So if I do the work for you, I'm going to get the inspiration, not you. So you cannot get illumination because you ain't got no inspiration. That's why it's dangerous to pay other people to do something for you unless you've done it yourself first. That's why I say before I pay anybody to do anything for me, I've already done it myself. So I know what it takes. So I know how to treat the people because I know it's hard. So I'm not going to disrespect you. So in my Dear Canoe process, we say, we didn't, no problem. Take 2 weeks off paid. Why? I know it's hard. I processed these Dear Canoe reports myself for freaking 10 years. This is tedious. And everybody out there said, damn, man, I like working with you. You're a good manager. Why? Because I've been there. I know the function of a manager. Somebody works for you, they work with you. This is your dream, not theirs. So how you want to get to the illumination stage if you don't have no inspiration? You're not pursuing your highest aspirations. So you just settle to be, flipping fries at McDonald's. Okay, that's a start. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But what's your next step? You should be working on, I want to be on the register. Then when you get on the register, what's the next step? Do they have a day lead? Okay, you become the daytime lead. Okay, what's the next step? So everybody on this call, if I unmute your mic, you should be able to tell me right now, what is the next step? Because if you do not have a next step, you can't move forward. You are in Groundhog's Day. Your monkey mind is going crazy. Your brain right now is telling you all the shit that's going to go wrong. Your brain right now is saying, damn, doctor, you see the gas prices? Your brain right now is like, brother, do you know what's going on right now in Russia and Ukraine? Your brain right now is telling you, man, do you know that they're thinking about passing, they're coming with a 4th jab? After you get the first 1, 2, or 3, they got another one coming out, my brother. Did you see the news? I don't give a shit about that. I'm focusing on the next step. I'm living my life, man. I ain't living Joe Biden's life. I don't give a damn what Joe Biden is doing. I'm worried about what I'm doing. I'm living in my life. My brain is immersed in my dream. I'm not here to fulfill nobody else's dream. Find your skill set. Perfect your skill set and demonstrate your skill set on the market and watch how people will they will run to you and they will be begging you, please take my money because I need your skill. But if you're not demonstrating your skill set, if you have not perfected your skill set, if you ain't even found it, man, I don't know what you've been doing. You cannot be listening. You cannot be listening. You may be tuning in, but you ain't listening to me. Because we start every show talking about purpose. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. How craziness comes from a lack of next step. That's purpose. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So we got to stop playing this game because we like to be, remember I did that too. Remember I told you guys how I associated busyness with being effective? Until I realized I was busy, I was working sun to sundown, and I never got paid. Then I had that group I told you about, the first group, it was $9 a month, and nobody was paying me. $9 a month, Dr. Martinet. $9 a month. I had a group of people, like 30-some people, and nobody was paying me, Dr. Martinet. Every time it was time to pay, they said, well, Doc, praise Jesus. The way my savings account is set up, I got to tithe first. My brother, after I tithe, I ain't got shit left. But you know what? I like what you're saying. What's the next class? I'll tell y'all, man, I was about the dumbest mother. I'm trying to help you because everybody on this call, all you got to do is align with the action step. Now, you should be saying the $1 million question. I hope you're saying. In your brain should be buzzing right now with what is my action step. See, you have to allow yourself, as I said before, to dream. Why? When you allow yourself to dream, your action step becomes clear, crystal clear. Because see, you've learned, like me, we've all learned helplessness. We've learned predictability. We've learned stability. We live in a culture and an environment where, man, I don't know, my brother, life is good. You sure you want to risk that? But what if that's my highest aspirations? See, I never pursued my highest aspirations up until now. I've always settled, just like you. Hey, you got a job. Come on, man. Why are you trying to be? Wait a minute. You want to go work where? I mean, come on, now. You're bagging groceries at the local 5 and dime. You should be happy. There's some people that don't got a job. Y'all remember how, your elders, what they told y'all? You got your first job? Oh, you got a car. Not you want to drive what? You know what people told me when I was going out buying or looking for my vets? You know my family members told me? Y'all don't even want to know. But what if that is my highest aspiration? It may not be yours. Maybe, a Toyota does it for you. It ain't do it for me. I've owned a lot of Toyotas. But what makes you think you deserve to drive around in a $100,000 car, brother? You see, brothers and sisters, you got to make sure that you align with your next step, not mine. Everybody on this call, I'm always talking about business, but everybody on this call is not designed to be an online business owner. There's a lot of people that are in, I'm going to use the word support roles, only because, that's the only word I can use. It's really not, but that's your role. That is the role God designed you. Know your role. Activation starts when your brain is in alignment with your assignment. I cannot express to you the importance of number one. In order for you to move forward in the midst of adversity, when you have done everything that you know to do and life is still not working, I know exactly what's going on. Every time I plateaued and things started, like money stops, stuff, new clients not coming in, every time I get to a point in my business where I plateau, I know exactly what I'm doing wrong. I know that my message is not clear to my market. I know that I'm talking about too much stuff. I know I got to go back to first base. I got to simplify. Every time there is a decline, I know that something has occupied my mind. Every time. Your life is in your relationship, in your marriage. If you having issues in your relationships, it's because you're not in alignment with your assignment. If you are a wife, what is your assignment? If you're a husband, what is your assignment? Now, same thing with boyfriend, girlfriend, all the same. So the male has a role, especially now, with all the gender bender stuff going on and all the, gender. Now it's over. Now we've got these masculine females that's being promoted. We've got these feminized males. Now all the dudes walking around with skinny jeans on and hair up in the bun, especially in the black culture, which we know such thing as black, but, for lack of a better term. Why? You think that's by accident? What happens when if there is no masculinity, then the divine feminine cannot express itself. The masculinity holds, because remember, men, we created an environment of unconditional love, so the divine feminine, the feminine goddess can express herself. The women can't be women if there are no men. Now, the dominant culture knows this. That's why they're trying to blur the line. Because if you go all through history, all great societies, right before they fell, go back into your history. They all corrupted from within. when they fail due to gender, not even neutrality, gender bending, I guess. Go back to the Roman culture. Go back to the Greeks. Look at all of the, go back to the, freaking Polynesian. Look at every major country. They all collapsed when women started to be men and men started to be women. Why? Because there is no gender roles. There is no electricity and magnetism. There is no sodium and potassium. There is no yin and yang. So the two's got to become one. Like it says in Ephesians chapter 2. So if I can prevent the two from becoming one, bam, you will not have no inspiration. I don't know. I'm inspired in the presence of the divine feminine. You should be too. Women, you should be inspired in the presence of the divine masculine. I should not be, step 2, excited and then experiencing my highest aspiration if I'm in a room like in some third world countries and like in the Greeks, well, men only hung out with the women when they wanted to procreate. Other than that, they was hanging out with a bunch of dudes. I'm not in that program. Not me. I don't get inspired when I hang out with a bunch of muscle-bound knuckleheads. So what is your highest aspiration? Your action step should be taking you in the direction of your highest aspiration, not what you settled for. Now, you have to do like I did. The whole time I had a Corvette on my screensaver, I went out and I bought me a Chevy Cruze. I traded the Chevy Cruze in for a Chevy Camaro. And I traded the Chevy Camaro in for a Chevy Corvette. See, I had a step-by-step plan. And I implemented my plan. And every time I got frustrated and angry because I wasn't driving my Corvette, when I was driving my Cruze, I got frustrated, so I started selling more vehicle reports. Why? That was the next step that activated the highest aspirations or inspiration that gave me the illumination to what I needed to do next to get closer to my Corvette faster. When you do these 3 steps, activation leads to inspiration, and inspiration leads to illumination. And we all know when you get to illumination, that is the highest. That means that you are one with Big G. That means that you can no longer be what I call victimization. See, victims are people that bad shit happened to them and they can't do nothing about it. If I hire somebody to do something for me and it doesn't work, if I try to do something and it doesn't work, if I go to the bank and they say, "Doc, we like you, brother, we appreciate you, but we don't lend money to short black Negroes from Texas," I can go home and be sad. I could be a victim. But not me. I got options. See, I'm a high vibrational Negro. I got options. See, you got them too. You just not taking them. So you got to make sure that you do what? Exercise your options. Otherwise, you're going to feel like a victim. What's a victim? A victim is somebody who feel like something happened to do that lowered their self-worth. So let me make sure you understand. Because, see, some of you guys are allowing things outside of you to affect your own core self-image. That is the number one way that you become a victim. That destroys activation. So victimization destroys activation. That's stuck. When you're stuck, somewhere you've chosen to be a victim. Because someone pissed you off, something happened to you, somebody disrespected you, somebody didn't keep a promise to you, so now you believe you don't have options. You don't know you can do the shit yourself. You don't know you can hire someone else. You don't know that you can call the person who didn't do it and say, remind them, "Hey, you're supposed to do A, B, C, and D, bro." But you got to go all the way back to the same thing. Inspiration. Activation creates inspiration. Do you feel inspired when you take that action? If you do not take the action. Even though, remember, you get the choice. Let's go back to Alabama. Nick Saban's story. Number one recruit He's projected #1 NFL draft. Goes to a little local watering hole in Alabama. Bunch of white folks start calling him the N-word. The dude is 6'8", 400 pounds. He giving the smoke off. Giving smoke some white folks. They call Nick Saban. Nick Taylor said, "Sir, you are 100% right. What do they call you, the N-word? You are totally justified to go over there and smack that ass. However, you get to choose. You want to be right or rich. So I'm asking y'all today. You got every right to go over there and demand somebody to do what they did. They did what? Go over there and tell them, man, you need to come over and fix this shit. So you can be right or you can be rich. Which one y'all want to be? There's a lot of folk want to be right, not me. Disrespect me, bro. Just pay me early. I'm interested in being right. I'm interested in being rich. Why? There's major consequences to your inaction. I'm not a victim. I'm not going to let anybody stop my dream. Nobody can stop my shine. So once you occupy your mind with your God-given design, nobody can stop your shine. That's how you get unstuck. So you get unstuck by activating your mind with the shine. What is the shine? Your design. Look at your numbers. I get really excited when I look at my numbers because there's nobody that's a better creative communicator of details than me. I don't know nobody. Do y'all? I've been going for an hour and a half now. I'm just getting warmed up. Only reason I'm stopping because I know y'all got other shit to do. Otherwise, I keep talking. I got a lot more shit to share. But y'all need to start implementing what I've already shared. So in conclusion, make sure that you do #1. You activate yourself so that way you can move forward. Because what we're talking about today, there's a lot of good people on this call right now. You guys are doing everything right. And shit just it's working, but it's not, I ain't working fast enough, Doc. It's going, but, you know, I need to get there, Doc. I ain't got all day, man. You're doing everything right. But it's still just kind of, you at a snail's pace. I got you. What you got to do? You got to adjust. You got to narrow your niche. In other words, it's like me. Shit hits the fan, what I do. Zoom, where I started at. Deacon reports. So what I started doing, I just started talking about not the life management system. Too much information. Not the whole thing. What? Too much information. If the Deacon report is too much information, zoom, I go smaller. That's 750 pages. Maybe I just go, okay, then just go to the life optimization circle. Circle, oh, that's too much? Okay, zoom, let's go further back. What day was you born? That too much? Okay, let's go further back. What month? Can we do that? Can we just talk about it? Can everybody know what month you was born? So depending on the intellectual level of my crowd, I may have to dumb down my system to just talk about 1 month. Okay, you born in January. Talk slowly too. Okay, that means that you were put on the planet by God to love people. Then you break down, what does love mean? It means you help people evolve. Kind of what I'm doing today. Oh, you're born in February. That means spirituality. March, what we're talking about now, that means courage. That's what we're talking about. March forward, move forward, courage. The ability to move forward in the face of adversity. That's what the word courage means. So we're talking about if you're born in March, this message is for you. And then we go through if we got to start with just 1 month, you talk to your market. When I say talk to your market, I just simply mean that you out every day, just ask people, hey man, what do you do for a living? This how I do purpose report. When I work over here, you really like that? No, bro, it's just a job, man. You know, I've been married, but I got kids. I got to take care of my family, my brother. But yeah, I understand, man. You ever looked into, you know, like the numerology, just never point out, what is that, man? So that's how it all starts. That's why I do my marketing. Just talk to people. I post it on Facebook and people ask me questions, I answer them. Develop a relationship with people. People buy from people who they can trust. So it starts there. Talk to your market. If you got an idea and you see somebody that kind of fits your target market, if you thinking about talking, you know, breaking down Islam, and you find somebody, they look Middle Eastern, and you ask them, hey man, are you Muslim? He said, yeah, man. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. I'm like, okay, cool. So how long you been a Muslim, man? So when did you start? Like, were your parents Muslims? And then you start talking about them, and then then that's when you interject. Well, you know, I got a program, man. It kind of breaks down, you know, Islam, and it's one of the Abrahamic religions. You know, it was started at the same time as Judaism was started. They both came out of Ur. Remember, there used to be, so I was wondering if you was interested in checking out my new book. It breaks down the history, the true esoteric, you know, meaning of arm, leg, arm, head. Well, you call it Allah. Let me break that down for you. You know, look at the letters A-L-L-A-H, arm, leg, arm, head. And so you know where that came from? Well, I got this chart over here, brother. Let me just help you, you know. You got some family members that might be interested. So you just start having a conversation with folks. You're going to say, hell no, I ain't interested. Get your ass up out of here. Or they're going to say, yeah, man, what else you got? So that's my next step. I talk about my product by talking about people's problems, not my product. People don't buy products. People buy solutions to problems. So don't tell me that you know how to cook, you know, or you know how to make hair, or you know how to fix cars, or you know how to paint pictures. How does it feel when my car's broke? Well, I know how I feel. Like yesterday, the wife's car just broke again. Same thing that happened last time happened this time. And I immediately knew it because it wouldn't shift. And I remember when Dr. Span was here last time, they had the same problem. This is the third time. Why in the hell you put a plastic part in a metal engine? I mean, unless you want to, you know how much money they make on just replacing that freaking shift cable and that freaking Mercury? I know how much money they juiced us out of. How many other fools ride around in the LMKC Lincoln Mercury and that shift and that cable shift because it's a plastic part, it just pops. You think? You know, with all that metal. How come they make this shit out of metal? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. That's residual income. So can you be mad at it? I mean, I can. I'm telling the wife, you know what? Might be time for you to trade that puppy in. Because like every 3 months we got to buy a new shifter cable. So that's about how long it's for it to wear out. Unless I can find a metal one. After all, you know, they're making these metal shift cables for Mercuries. So brothers and sisters, everybody has a market. Your job is to align your next step with your market's issue, no matter how small it is. Why? That makes you excited, and that gives you illumination. And once you get illuminated, then you're on a level where there is no devil, because you're operating in love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, and self-control. You cannot be a victim because you are a victor. Victory. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. I remember that old person, victory is mine? Yeah. That's what we're at. We're on a level where there's no devil. Listen, I love you. I appreciate you. We can see you guys later on tonight. God bless.